Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to glow when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Icy. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine that he hacking. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong, he scored a like from Truong. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board, it's only the other chap. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. Don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practices rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for elo farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis with lengthy game analysis. With sensei direction, he sold his collection. Read one classic and that was fantastic. Now he locked to the spot where they checking off boxes. Young prodigies and some wily old foxes. 3.5 points per box, that's shocking progress. Goal nearing, cohort cheering, Joe doesn't hear it. He's monotasking, no relaxing, concentration maxing. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work, work, never stop. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work, never stop. Now occasionally, he peeps the world of the tweet and laughs when he sees the player that he used to be. Blank face staring, complex plans comparing while he's dojo training. Hours a day playing out positions, transpositions, and growing his board vision. Transition from poser to player, focus without a care. He leaves them complaining in his dust, staying with their week-old ratings. Blast past his week-old rating, each week's a new occasion. He never takes vacation, the work is entertaining, the growth he's maintaining. And now Joe is explaining, hey, don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. Don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. Welcome to the dojo. Welcome to the dojo. Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to glow when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Icy. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine that he hacking. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong, he scored a like from Truong. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board, it's only the other chap. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe. Waiting's what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo. It's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo. I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe. Waiting's what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practices, rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for ELO farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis. With lengthy game analysis, with sensei direction, he sold his collection. Read one classic and that was fantastic. Now he locked to the spot where they checking off boxes. Young prodigies and some wily old foxes. 3.5 points per box, that's shocking progress. Goal nearing, cohort cheering, Joe doesn't hear it. He's monotasking, no relaxing, concentration maxing. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. Now occasionally, he peeps the world of the tweet and laughs when he sees the player that he used to be. Blank face staring, complex plans comparing while he's dojo training. Hours a day playing out positions, transpositions, and growing his board vision. Transition from poser to player, focus without a care. He leaves them complaining in his dust, staying with their week-old ratings. Blast past his week-old rating, each week's a new occasion. He never takes vacation, the work is entertaining, the growth he's maintaining. And now Joe is explaining, hey, don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, waiting's what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, rating's what I'll receive. Welcome to the dojo!
Welcome to the dojo.
Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to glow when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the cup is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see. He's got more follows than my boy Eric Dicey. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin. Who cheated who, which engine
That
did he
ain't
hacking?
mouse.
He's got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong. He scored a like from Chuan. He's got...
All right, my friends, here we go. We are doing the grad show. And we do the graduates every Wednesday usually, but this week was a little messed up because Kostya and David wanted to do this thing called Arena Kings. And so that's the first Wednesday of the month. Maybe I'll do it too. In any case, that's why the schedule got mixed up. We got AFM Hughes here, Cross Online, and Filetica Fish. So it's going to be a good party, obviously. We did about a little more than half yesterday. And so today we're starting, I believe, with WebSmith. We're starting at the 11 to 1200. So we have a good chunk. We have a good chunk to do here. Let's see what WebSmith has to say. Although I didn't record all of my activities, I did follow many of the dojo suggestions. I played many classical games and I reviewed them myself and covered several with my coach. I also reviewed GM games, used faster games to work on openings and tactics. I also worked on a number of more complex positions to build calculation skills and better strategic understanding. I really like the dojo program, just found the constant recording a bit tedious. Hooked up with some people via Discord, but scheduling always seems to be tricky. That's a very honest sense of things there. I just moved houses, so I have missed recording stuff, my own study. I need to get back to it, but I think maybe by tomorrow morning I'll be ready to do that. And the Sweet Blues, yeah, they could have needed me. I don't understand it yet. I don't understand it yet, but right, maybe I'll do it next month. Okay. WebSmith also maybe just stopped recording. He was like, I did all this here, and now I find it tedious. He's doing a lot of non-dojo work. I think he's working with a coach as well. In any case, the guy has gone up muchos points, so that part of it looks good. 50 plus, there we go. 50 plus is a huge club here, huge. Also from Canada, beautiful. And we got, well, this is not that recent, but I don't think I've covered, at least I don't remember Webb Smith from earlier. Have I looked at it? I haven't. And beautiful time graph from both players. Just to point it out, I think if you're watching this show just kind of casually, one of the things that you could just automatically see is as you go up the rating ladder, you will see more players playing OTB. You will see also much better time management, and they'll be playing longer time controls. So it's just a thing of like, oh, yeah, the higher rated players, they're thinking longer. They're using their time better. Okay, so here we go. Webb Smith is playing black. I'm going to put this on game review mode. I might have to switch it up. Let's see. Yeah, I have to switch it up. This just means that I don't know why, but in the software I use, I always have to manually put in the board windows. All right, here we go. So, fine, great, good. And this is a little weird. And he says incorrect theory is bishop. He means bishop d3. Yeah, so this move is weird. Fine. Good. And you know what? I feel like I remember seeing this in the pre-computer age, this variation to try to steal the pawn. It's very counterintuitive, though, because you're really going to be taking forever to do it. You're going to trade off black's bad bishop when you do it. And you're developing the rook. Now, this move I'm not sure about. This move feels like black is saying, hey, I really want to win the pawn back. When I'm not sure that's what we want. I think we want him to take on h5. So my intuition anyway would be c5, knight d7, knight d7, one of those moves. All right, now it's going to get hot. Now, you take this way, snip, snop, and now I'm scared. I am scared. Things have gone wrong, obviously. We've pinned ourselves. So yeah, this bishop e7 did not go well. We needed, at the bare minimum, to take on h5 and do your variation. And you say c5 here, though it makes a lot of sense just to take this thing here. I think you're worse, by the way. I think you're worse in this position. So bishop e7, I feel was wrong. Now you're probably lost. And you talk about bishop g5, good move. So what did he do? Notice, both players were obsessed with winning the pawns. They were obsessed with the pawns. But pawns aren't people, my friends. Pawns aren't people. Good move. And now he's just down in development. Now, one of the things to intuitively think about queen h8, here you play bishop f2 very quickly, is just a matter of tempo. So when you take on h8, he has to spend a tempo taking the bishop back. So yes, remember what I said about being obsessed with pawns? Here again, you're being obsessed with pawns. And one of the things to see, stockfish or not, is really he's gonna have to do this or this. Otherwise, he's just losing the piece. In which case, this is crushing. But even if that wasn't crushing, we'd still have knight f5, which is also just so powerful on queen takes. Okay, so look, you're obsessed with pawns. It's very important to understand. You're doing great, though. By the way, I didn't comment on knight a6, but here you should really consider c5 and knight c6. You could start with knight f5, but the knight belongs on c6. Because now your knight's just bad. I don't understand this. You're offering him to open up the rook. He says, okay, I'll waste the tempo closing my rook off. Why not c8? Now we're making some random moves here. So I guess we're lost again. Mate. Okay. So look, I think one of the cool things that we can get from this game is that players at this level, you're at a very high level, honestly, right? But you're still, and by that I mean you're not hanging a lot of stuff. But what's happening is you're obsessed, both players were obsessed with pawns instead of being obsessed with strategic goals. That's right, beloved bookkeeper. All right, let's go back to the grad show. Next up, we have Thaurkam, who I remember. This graduation felt much less rewarding than the last one. I gained a lot of points in tournaments where opponents either didn't show up or were significantly lower rated. From a content perspective, I really enjoyed the book, Winning Chess Tactics. I followed your advice for my last graduation to look for local clubs. By chance, I met members of the club whose website I had been looking at the night before at a local street festival. Amazing. I got to play my first OTB, and I must say it hits differently. I plan to visit them a few more times over the next few weeks to see whether they're also a good fit on a personal level. Okay, beautiful. I'm also addicted to coffee. I am definitely addicted to coffee. I love coffee. Now, Thaurkam, we should say you didn't quite make it. You weren't quite there. But I get it. And we should be looking to get a OTB rating. I'm going to pop this out, though, because you have been slaying it. You've been slaying it. Look at that. That is incredible. And you've got 440 points of gain since joining the dojo. Beautiful. All right. So clubs. European. Aus Deutschland. That's probably why I recommended it. There's so many clubs in Germany. Play on a team. And of course, you can do, like here in the German dojo, they're talking about German OTB tournaments. Okay, here we go. Boom. So, 922. Great. All right, so this is a Lee chess situation. Let's see if we got a clock. We very much have a clock here. And here Thaurkam did better. We will come back to see what happened on move 20. But basically, both people stopped thinking at move 20. We see this a lot, where you can see both players were GM level until move 17 with their time. And then something happened. In fact, it's move 17 for white that he stopped. And for us, it's move 18. Okay, so we'll come back to that. I might change windows again to see what happened, to show you the time again, rather. C3, totally strange. He's playing the triangle. Now, let's just say that there's nothing incredibly wrong with your move d6, but that let me put it this way. You in these positions, you can generally play what we call a King's Indian structure, or you can play a Grunfeld structure. And here with the move d6, you're showing that you're being dogmatic, because here you can achieve the move d5 in one go, because he burned a tempo with this terrible move, bishop c4. At this level, we really want to stress, your opponents are going to be obsessed with pawns, not tempi, as we saw in the last game, but also just not obsessed with tempi, right? So here he lost a tempo with c3, and he's losing another one with d5. Why do they do this? Because they've never been cracked. They've never been kathwalloped by losing time. And you might be the guy that convinces him. A little weird. Bishop f5, okay. And now knight e4, good. Bishop g4, I would have taken it, yeah. Let's see the vision you didn't see in the game. Yeah, it's a nice two bishop position. And one of the things you should understand as a King's Indian player is that once you win their bishop, or in a lot of positions, it's so hard for them to mate you because you control the dark squares around your king. So it's just like a zone of safety you enter once you trade off their dark square bishop. Okay, what's the other problem with bishop g4? You're not developing. h3, terrible. So this person's just blowing it. Thank you very much. And you say clear advantage, but why isn't it just completely winning? It's completely winning. Thank you for finally taking that thing. Okay, good. Thank you. Fine. Fine. Weird. I want you to develop the knight. Good move. So your opponent's just blundering all over the place. Now, we were talking about what happened on move 17. When we now gain a sense of it, you're completely winning and this person is refusing to resign. So that is not on you. That's not on you, the time usage. Fine. Fine. This person needs to resign. Okay, we're going to stop there. So, well done. Marked as reviewed. And that's Thauerkam. Thauerkam is really crushing it in Germany somewhere. Maybe he'll tell us next time where in Germany. And my dream is, there's various towns in Germany that have their own dojo, like Berlin and stuff. But I'm really dreaming that we can get people from the different German clubs to get their own dojo club. For example, I played for Viernheim back in the day, and Viernheim's a huge club. It is often in the first Bundesliga. And it would be amazing to say, just as an example, have a Viernheim club, and then you could see all the people on the scoreboard. Okay, so here we go. Next up, we have Goldsman. Goldsman says, happy to graduate. Really enjoyed Chernev's 62 most instructive games. I enjoyed that when I was a kid, very much so. And then recently just needed to play a few more games to get my rating up and graduate. Increased my ECF rating by 91 points, FIDE by 80, in order to graduate. Looking forward to visualize 1 in the next cohort. Okay, let's go take a look. Boom. First of all, also a tennis player. Lots of work here being done. So this is great. And ECF, he's got the ECF going on. Notice that it's less than his ChessCom, but that it is on a steady rise. You can see he started out on the ECF, the OTB rating more recently, and just really crushed it. Here, ECF there's his FIDE right that. So very similar with the FIDE. Looks like he could graduate again if he wanted to just use the FIDE, but this is just his first FIDE rating. Henrico says, I graduated on 925 and I haven't found my name on the past stream. It doesn't seem to be on this list right now as well. 925. Okay, well, let me just put a note in. Maybe we'll get to you today. Maybe if you stick around, but let's do you next. Okay, so sometimes I miss a name. Totally possible. All right, Goldsman. He is UK. I want to know where people exactamundo are. He's also playing for his club. Maybe he'll start a dojo for his club or his town. So, boom. And we have this. Now, this is a problem that we're having is, look, people are putting their games in weird places. It needs to be in my games. Okay? So, for example, this looks very recent. Yeah, I'm sure this is the tournament he is referring to. So, he is playing someone very high rated, and we do have clock times. So there you can get a sense that our hero and his opponent also stopped thinking around move 22 or something. So we'll see what's going on there. His opponent may be overconfident, maybe he's just going to crush us. Did not really spend any time in this game at all. All right, so here we go. This is an ancient system that honestly I don't think is too good. Good move. Good move. Poor. Thank you. You're doing great. Okay. So maybe what we just want to say here is that Black is doing great, but needs to appreciate a couple things. White would very much like to open the position for his bishops. That's going to be his most important goal. And he wants to be able to deny our knights any kind of significant outpost squares. We're better because of the damaged pawn structure, and maybe more importantly, because of time. We're up in time. So we got to appreciate, for example, that this is a poor move because we really never want to trade that thing off. And it's a good deal that you just went back. Now, before we get into it, I want to stress both of our knights now need a little work. So we need to come up with a plan for improving the position of our pieces. Just my first instinct would be knight d7, knight c5, and f5. Okay, there we would be trying to activate our rook on the f file. Right, very frisky plan. We could also take a moment after knight c5 to just see where we are, but the knight on c5 is a pretty good piece no matter what. Notice that this knight on c6 needs improvement as well. It's dominated by this pawn. Okay, so bishop g4. I like that you didn't take. And you did a big analysis of bishop h5, but honestly, even if he doesn't have g5 here, the point is that your bishop is terrible. Now it's blocked into a cage. Okay, I'm not sure what knight e7 is doing yet. You want to do this. Okay. So a big question will be, can white organize d4? He also, now you're giving him an interesting plan now. He plays knight h4. This is possible. Another interesting plan that you've given him is knight e1, also with the ideas of f4 and also knight c2 to d5. I don't like h6 at all. You talk about b5. Yeah. You notice you're afraid of bishop g5, and there's no reason to be. Okay. This doesn't do anything. And now you're in trouble. Also, just king h2 would have made a lot of sense. Right, our pieces are nasty. Notice that you've just taken away the square for your knight. So it's important to see that the reason you're going to get mated isn't just because of the pawn storm, but because your pieces are so nasty. I think a stronger player would have prepared at g5. So the knight isn't doing anything anymore. So knight f3, queen e1, queen g3, h4, g5, roll them, baby. Now you might have a chance to live. Good. He takes. You could have also played f6. All right. Good. Poor move. and now rook c8. Now, why is it a poor move? Because this guy's now dead, and this queen is going to get whacked by either your queen or your bishop, preferably your bishop. So rook here for sure, counterplay, and get ready to move the bishop back and the knight in. All right, queen e8. If your rook were already here, we could play queen b7 followed by bishop e8. Oh, that's not good. Now you're just lost. Yep, now we're toast. And that's why the time wasn't that important. Okay, so you played a stronger opponent, and one of the things that we can say is that when you got to this position, it was a little bit unnatural for you, and you didn't have a sense of what you should be looking for. And you shouldn't feel bad about that. That's just a thing of getting used to positional chess. So, for example, you did this, and then you were like, well, I want to hit him like with little superficial threats and stuff. And you need to think long term, and you'd be like, what's the dynamics of the position? The dynamics are I'm up in time, and he's got weakened pawns, but he has the two bishops, and I have to fix my knights, right? So those are some of the dynamics you want to be thinking about once this position goes down. Okay, so let's do Enquirabito, Henrico, whose name is, I remember this person. So let's go search, and we're going to go Enquirabito. I'm in the wrong. I might need help. Let's go first of all, grad show. I think I spelled it wrong. There we go. I see what I did wrong. Okay. There he is, 1700. Oh, maybe I'm getting confused. There's another guy named Henrico. I think that's why I'm getting confused with somebody else. So just joined, you can see, done a little bit of work, and is now here, 1700. Welcome to the dojo. Always nice to see a strong player join the ranks. We got some clubs. ADHD Dojo, great games, boom. Tell us something about yourself, where you're from, whatever, just something. Then we got, this was created today. Today? Now, we'll say, just as a quick critique, you can, it's oftentimes very difficult for somebody to do their first annotation. And just the thing I want to point out here is just looking at it visually, it feels light on the annotations, right? And I get it. The first time you're doing it, not always the easiest thing. All right, boom. So, congratulations, first of all, on using your time, right? It's a 30 plus 5. One thing we want to say is where you are at, according to at least let's call it the dojo guidelines, we really need you to be playing slower time controls than this. And you can see it from your own game, like, oh, I needed more time here. Right? Okay. I believe it's at this level, we can go check later, but I think it's a minimum of 45-30. All right. Fine so far. You're doing fine. Fine. Okay, we don't like this move, queen d7, because he's not actually threatening anything on d5, as scary as it looks, right? So we'd rather see bishop e7 or knight d7. Actually, it is a little scary. I'm going to go ahead and say we've gotten ourselves into a slightly scary situation, because dude could consider knight b5 here. Now, that's a little scary. I'm going to admit it. Okay. So let me just say, this is actually an interesting thing that you found yourself caught in. Normally, at least from my little experience in London, somebody's already played knight f3. But with this move order, they're able to get queen b3 out faster. So that's kind of cool, actually, from the white perspective. I don't feel like this is wrong. You could have played b6, but I don't feel it's wrong. Okay. And if you have to play queen d7, we got to say, oh, we're really in trouble. We're in big trouble. And so one of the things I'll say is, in my experience, it's a little rare to get wasted in the opening at this level. Okay. Now, we still want to do this. Bishop e7. Boom, boom. Knight b5. Knight a6. Knight d6. And probably knight c7. It's ugly. It's ugly. I'm not going to lie. But the good news is your opponent still has a lot of... in fact, no. Let's play knight e4. Let's give him that question first. Your opponent still has some questions to answer. Okay? Because they're not developed. Right? Okay. But this isn't it, because now we're going to get wasted with knight e5. Good move. Oh my God, this is scary. Now, did they blow it with knight g6? I'm going to go ahead and say a firm yes. Because first of all, they could play c takes d5, and it looks like, I don't know, it looks pretty scary for you. Okay, so here, good move. Now the knight's trapped. You go in. So it's like you're going to get a little revenge now. C takes, exclam. I think it's an exclam. Queen d1, bishop a6. So it's a very similar position, just with you having the nice bishop instead of him. Okay, we're out of here. And queen d2 is definitely not intuitive. I mean, maybe it's correct, but it's not intuitive, because couldn't you play king e7? I guess he still has queen b4. Okay, good. Good variation. White's just barely hanging on here. Amazing. Okay. So that would have been a great find. Good move. Not sure about queen f3. I'm also, I guess we're going to have to do that. That's not it. And now you just whack it, buddy. You just whack it, really? Wow, this is exciting. Both players are in a little bit of time pressure here. One of the reasons we want you to play, this is a great opportunity for me to try to persuade you of something. One of the reasons we really want you to play longer time controls is this is a position where you're going to have to do some deep calculation, right? By the way, yeah, you're going to want to do some deep calculation here. This is hot. The other move you have, for instance, is bishop d6, intending king e7. But then I think his intention is, but on b4 you have here, hitting the rook, so he doesn't have time for b5. So I don't even know what a3 does. It looked poor to go out of this to do this. That just looked like a cheap threat. Okay. Amazing. Amazing. And now, check to the miserable king. I have a feeling he missed that. Notice that it might be stronger actually to play rook c8. Because I don't know what he does. Oh no, he's got queen a4. we cannot do that. Check. Good. Not sure about king b2. And now you have what should be a winning endgame. b6. This looks like a clear blunder. Okay. So, knight e4, good move. You need to take a moment here. You don't have much of a moment. You do have 4 minutes left, and you need to find this move, bishop b5, so that you can consolidate the position with bishop c6. Now you're in trouble again. Probably lost. Oh, and then he blunders rook h7. Oh, totally brutal. Totally brutal. Okay. Filet Fish says, what rating do you recommend creatine in toxic masculinity? Is that me? Is that who I am, dude? I hope that's who I am. Okay. So, good first game. You can see we had a little bit more in there. You really survived a very good opening. I hadn't seen this trick before. It's a good trick. It's hard to deal with. In fact, I rarely use the engine, but I'm going to turn it on here just real quick to see if... I want to see if bishop f5 is actually then, therefore, a mistake in this move order. Let me just look. Maybe this is the move order I need to be playing myself, dude. So, 5, c4, e6, queen b3. Oh, and the computer has this nasty knight c6 move here. That's a computery move. I don't even know if I believe in it. Yeah. Okay, good to know. All right, so we're going to go back. And we're going to look now at Checkmate Nate. That's a nice one, Checkmate Nate. And he says, I changed my preferred rating to USCF as I believe this will present a bigger challenge in getting my rating higher versus playing online rapid. My hope is that this will also motivate me to play even more OTB. I've been focusing mostly on tactics and games analysis up to this point, but now I plan to shift my attention to middle game and end game for a good stretch. I have nothing but good things to say about the program, thank you, and how much it's helped me improve. I particularly am a fan of the analysis board and all of its features, and I've enjoyed seeing the recent updates to the training program plan page. If possible, could you review my game with Nick Bartlone and my game against Michael Morning? These are two recent games I found very challenging and could use some feedback on. We'll definitely look at least one. Anthony Phillips, thank you. And also Sorgel. Sometimes, by the way, I don't always look at all the chats. You know, we're running both the YouTube and the Twitch chat. I don't always look because I'm consumed with these games that I'm looking at here. So here's Checkmate Nate, switched up, and you can see he has been going for it since April of this year. I like that he takes Sundays off, basically. You can see his pattern. He's taking Sundays pretty much off. Okay, so he made it to 1201 USCF, 29 years old. Great. He's got the chess bug. All right, that looks great. Do we have a Tennessee club? We do, 20 people. Nice. I've never played a tournament in Tennessee. That's a little, maybe small life goal that I got going out there. And we have a couple games that he wanted to look at. One was named Bartlone, and one was named Morning. Let's just see what we got here. I'm not seeing either one right now. Bartlone and Morning. Anyone see this? I'm not finding it. Bartlone and Morning. You know, it's possible that he didn't hit publish. Sometimes people don't hit publish. Thank you, Henrico. I'm going to call you Henrico, even though it's Henrico. A little bit at a loss here. I guess I'm going to choose this one just because we don't have the games he's referring to. And I feel like maybe I'm missing it somehow. Is it maybe in this one? No. Okay, let's just look at this one then. I believe, by the way, a lot of players come to me and they'll be like, oh, I played this game, but it's not worth looking at. And in my experience, it almost just pretty much always is. Okay, so boom, let's go look at this one. You got to remember to hit the publish button. Sometimes people forget and then it's not in there. Here's the clock. Thank you for doing the clock. This is 90 plus 30. And, you know, Nathan's been with us for a while, and you can really see the difference in OTB. Look at this, 90 plus 30, and he's doing it right. He's doing it right over here. Yeah. All right, so we've got game review. And now this is Nate here. Checkmate, Nate. All right, fine. Frisky. Boom, 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 boom. Interesting. I like it. And now Queen E7. So I've seen similar things to this in the past, and usually Black has enough just because they have development. But I'm definitely thinking that White is better in this position because you have the dark squares and better development, right? So just giving the pawn back. Now, what does that little thing mean? Out of book. Okay. So, knight f6. Okay. Knight d2. And right, you should have castled because the pawn isn't threatened yet. Rook f8. That doesn't look right. Doesn't he need to castle early and often? That's what they told me at school, that I needed to castle early and often. D6, rook e1. I feel like you're body slamming him now. King d8. He's not, this ain't working. This ain't working. I like b4. Bishop b2 is definitely more natural. Knight d4. And you talk about h3. I got to believe in the move bishop b2 as well. This is a point my opponent made a draw offer, which I thought was extremely premature. Yeah, now he is, you know, he can definitely be happy to get the queens off, right? That's for sure. And Stockfish apparently talks about queen e5. And first of all, I just want to stress my first instinct would also be bishop b2. The thing to see about queen e5 is just that the pawn is going to be extremely weak on e5. I love your position either way, honestly, though. Good move by your opponent. Rook e3. I don't like this move. So what you need to understand is that you have a bishops of opposite color situation on your hands. And you are going to want at some point to play f3. And that you can still attack the king. So I think I would want probably knight c4 followed by f3, then put the rook on one of these squares and play for the initiative. This isn't it, though. You want to play f3. You want to put your pawns on light squares because your bishop is on dark squares. Okay. Okay. I don't like that move. I don't like that move. It's a loss of time. Now, this is controversial because now you're all in. You're all in on pushing f5. All right, he does this. Controversial because maybe the knight isn't getting out. Good move. And now what's interesting is if you're allowed to play g4, then I feel like he's done. Okay, good. And now he plays knight g7. And I think that he has like one momentito to play d5. And the point is that he needs to get this pawn off of this square before you achieve g4, f5. He misses it though. Good move. And now you body slammed him with f5. So your plan worked amazing. Okay. Now, there's an interesting argument for ef. The reason we didn't do it, or he didn't do it, presumably, is because of bishop d5. So strategically, we'd like to play ef. The problem now is his bishop is really out to lunch. You said, I'm not even going to take your thing. I probably would have taken it, but your position is still very nice. The question is, though, can he d5 you? Right? So I would guess that this is a mammoth position for you because the knight is so terrible and you're about to play rook here and in. Okay, so rook 1 f2, he goes for the cheap threat, and now you're just going to pin and win. Yeah. Either of these is a pin and win situation. There's no way out. He's just messing around. He's not even thinking about the move d5. Pin and win. Okay. And now knight c4. And yeah, you don't want to play f6 and give him any squares. So here it is a patience issue. And you need to think about, how do I improve the position? Taking isn't always a bad thing, but you need to make sure that d5 never happens. So one of these moves is probably on the table. And that's superficial because that's what he wants anyway. And now now we got a little grief. He plays knight e8. Honestly, knight e6 looks much stronger. Much stronger. I don't understand. What is he doing with his rooks? Now he has to be thinking about, how does he get the knight here? So you offered a draw here. Okay. You offered a draw, and this guy was so scared. Now, if he had thought about it more, maybe he would figure out. I mean, he has put himself actually in a weird spot here. He really has. But the question, and we should analyze it here, is could he play d4, rook somewhere, and then king here? I don't know if he can, because he boneheaded himself with this kind of stuff. And so e6 is going to hurt. But it doesn't hurt yet because of this. So if it doesn't hurt yet, and we have to do something like this, then he's clearly better, or winning, after knight c7, because he gets the knight here. But notice, this was dumb to put the rook here. In fact, maybe I'm wrong, because he was so boneheaded to put the rook here. Back, and then we push. Oh, Lordy. Oh, Lord, wouldn't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? It's all about, can he create a blockade, how we evaluate the position. Okay, we have a question on move 35. Could we have played e5 threatening the fork? Well, I don't understand e5 really because he takes. But maybe you have some idea there. Okay. Sam asks, would you be able to do my graduation today because I'm off work today? Sure, you can do that, Sam. Let's go take a look. We'll go search users. And I think, let's just try beloved bookkeepers. I don't know. Tell me if I'm, yeah, there you are. So look at that. You got two. You got two. I know this is the right one, but you got two. What's going on with that one? All right. So first of all, I know Sam. She's living here in Baltimore. She's from the South. She speaks with a Southern accent. Deep South. Deep South. Think Deep South. And she's doing a lot of tactics. Been with the dojo for a long time. So really cool. She's been trying to get me to go to this Blitz tournament on Monday nights, and I'm finally going to go sometime soon. All right. So she's been a little bit soft with her training. It's going off and on, right? And she's using ChessCom. I want her to switch to USCF, but she's had a rough go of it with the USCF. I think, Sam, also, I think you had, I'm guessing, a struggle, like a lot of players do, where you started with chess, you were super excited, and you were like, dude, I'm making progress, I'm making progress, and I'm just going to continue to fly up, and then you realize, like, oh man, this is actually really hard. And that's like psychologically devastating for a lot of people. I'm glad you're still playing. For example, there's so many players, or I look at their profile and they're like, well, I'm going to be a grandmaster next year, or, something kind of, too many points. Too many points. For a year, if you've been playing for a while already, in a year, like 100 points is already asking a lot. It's doable, but 100 points is a lot. So I think Sam had big goals originally, I remember, which is fine. It's just like we got to realize, life will be hard. As you go up, we've seen it, we do these grad shows. These people are working. You're dealing with some competition that's working. They're working hard. Okay, so Sam, you should tell me, look at that, the Baltimore Dojo, Maryland Dojo. You should tell me which game you'd like to look at. Intuitively, I would just go with this last one here, the most recent one. That looks like a good game. Let's click on that. This is an OTB. This is the DC Chess League. Oh, nice. And we have a very nice time graph here where Sam did great. Oh, you can tell just by the look at that graph and how long it is. This is a tough game. And yeah, it is hard to go drive down to DC. It's like stressful. Okay, so the Poison Pawn team. Great. All right, let's get into it. All right, so here we go. Fine. You're doing great. And now D4, kind of frisky. It's a little bit, you've played a great move order, and it's putting a real question to the queen on C2. So I like C takes D4 a lot. This might be a blunder. Or at least there's aspects of this that I don't understand. Like, shouldn't they play D takes C5 now? And if bishop C5, then take, exposing you to this kind of drama. Definitely not correct, losing a full tempo. Good move. And this move is fine, but notice once this goes down, you're going to be heading into a isolated queen pawn position. And in that isolated queen pawn position, you really want to, it's about the fight for this square. So a good plan would have been to first give the queen a whack. I don't know where she goes. We take. And then we do something like this. Put this bad bishop here, make it a good bishop, and the knight is definitely prefers, if it can get there for free, it would like to be here because it controls our blockade square. Okay, so here we go. Okay. They should definitely not trade queens. Good move. Now notice, you do have a problem of fixing your light square bishop. Now, you think for 6 minutes and go for it with b5, which I think it's giving me a heart attack. It's giving me a heart attack. So I think your default move here should be bishop d7 and just park it. Okay? Now, maybe you're losing after this b5 move. It scares the bejesus out of me. So why aren't we losing after knight f5, or excuse me, b5, and then knight fe5? It looks gone to me. Seems like, again, the reason you're doing b6 is to stop knight fe5, but it's still crushing us. Yeah, it's still murdering us here. Right? Like snip, snop, rook b8, snick, ouch. Okay. Rotten chess, I don't know. I'm sick. I can't do that much. I got to finish the other people too. Okay, so knight c5, he blew it. Bishop b7, good. Now b5 is working out great. Bishop e3. Rook ac8. I really want you to move the knight on c6, like knight b4 here. Okay, I like knight b4 better. Okay, but you are in full control over this game. Now, one of the, let's call it, I don't know if I want to call it a trick. One of the things about the isolated pawn that's tricky is we actually want the rooks on the board. And so this is, I don't know if they're intending this or what, but this is definitely reasonable for them to try to do. And I think you're going to have to take it. Why do we want the rooks on the board? Because the worst part about an isolated pawn is if we trade off our minors and get a battery onto this thing. Now, you're still a little bit better, but it should be fundamentally okay for white now. Okay, maybe f6 instead, but this is fine. Okay, good move. I'm glad you didn't take a3. Now, a5, let's pretend it's okay. h4, I'm not sure I understand. King d8, I'm not sure I understand it. I think something kind of obvious is you want to move this knight, right? So it seems reasonable to me to play something like bishop f6 intending knight e7. Yeah, it's still pretty hot. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and say that I don't like a5 too much because at some point he's going to play knight b3. So even here, I guess I like, and I don't want to mess, I don't want him to frisk me with my a pawn. I don't want him to mess with me. So imagine here, I don't know, here and here. And one of the reasons you have the advantage here is you have to jump with your king, right? And then this guy's, it's a little bit of a problem. All right. b4, by the way, I don't know what, yeah, doesn't make any sense. So that was not, I didn't want to see that. Check to the miserable king. And now we really need to play bishop f6, very good. And now king e7. Again, knight e7 looks good. Check to the miserable king. And now he takes. I'm not sure he should. Good. And then that's a miserable move. What are you doing, buddy? But it just shows that taking the bishop was not a good move. All right? Now your king, it's looking like it's winning the journey to the d5 square, or else then he does that move, which is clearly sad. Okay, so Sam, a thing about this position is this is the kind of position where we want you to spend some momentitos to figure out how to play it. Okay? He's got the two bishops, but we are definitely better here. So, for example, king d6 looks superficial because you're walking into bishop b4. Right? Okay, so we need a better plan, and we need to try to come up with an evaluation. my personal sense is that you are very close to winning because this pawn has to be babysat now, right? Like he's going to have to leave one of his pieces dealing with that. So maybe bishop d5. Let's just play king e2 for a second. Here, let's put him on d3 or something, okay? And then we'll play knight d7. And it's kind of difficult for him to do stuff. We'll have ideas of e5 and knight b6. And so we can slowly improve the position. Like I said, what has he done? He's killed himself over here. Okay, so here we go. Check. And you were like, I got him. I don't know, that's scaring me. Bishop f8. I offered a draw here. Okay. Boom. Now, I think we're toast, huh? Yeah. Well, we're done now, right? Yeah. Wait a second. You made a mistake here, Sam. You took the pawn on d4 because you were pissed. You were just so angry at life. But I don't think your opponent did this correctamundo because you had king c4. And you're not toast at all. In fact, I think you're winning. Yeah, I think you're winning this position, Sam. Right? The knight's going to come out and be immense, and your king is already immense. So it's like so let's just say you had the instinct to put your king on d5. And it is, let's just point it out, it's insane. It's insane to put your king there. But maybe this is totally fine for you to do this. Okay? If you could put your king there, we want to. That's right. So if f4, we can claim that knight e4 is at least okay for us. And so your opponent was like, I'm going to be really clever and do this. But now f4 looks like a positional blunder because you just play king c4 now. I think that's lost, yeah. You wanted the isolated pawn bad. Okay. So, yeah, and then the rest of the game is toast. Yeah. So that was a good game, Sam. You're playing a 1400, and, they played a couple funky moves. And what are they going to do, these 1400s? They're going to give you some time like that, right? And what's cool, too, is when you appreciate that you would rather have the knight on b4 anyway, because you know about the isolated queen pawn. Then you're going to be like, oh, okay, I know how to play these positions. All right. Well done, Sam. Congratulations. And really cool that you are making progress. We want to see more over here with the heat maps, Sam. We don't want to have this summer of Southern comfort going on over here, Sam. Come on now. And I'm going to try to make it on Monday. I don't know yet, but I'm going to try to make it on Monday. There's a blitz tournament she wants me to go to. I'm going to try to see. All right, we got a couple left, my friends. I'm supposed to be at a meeting at 1, so I don't want to do too much extra. We had another request for me to cover somebody else. But anyways, here we go. Marcelo says, I studied for a whole month, abstaining from playing games. I focused on tactics, board visualization by following David's and Kostya's videos and repeating in my head every single game to memorize from each cohort by heart every day. Subsequently, I started reading Logical Chess move by move, and even though it wasn't the one recommended for my level, it was extremely useful. After that 1 month period, I played diligently for some weeks. Always played OTB at my club on the weekend. All right, that's beautiful. Yeah, very difficult to make. Very impressive. Okay, so this is Marcelo. And Marcelo, dude, he is cranking it. Look at that. The man is working. The man is working. Very impressive. And joined last year. Physiotherapist. Okay. Cool. So look at this rating graph. Very impressive. Going up and down, but steadily going up. All right, clubs. In Italy. Beautiful. Games. Ba-boom. We got this one from recently. We got some times. Very impressive time graph, my friends. This is a 1 hour time graph. Both players playing GM level with the clock. All right, let's go to the game review. This is an old-fashioned line, and it's not dumb. Just to fix the bishop. Okay. Poor. Knight h3. But I don't know what else he's supposed to do. I guess knight f7 is a thought, and it would be very scary. By the way, the knight on g5 is just kind of like a tourist, you know? So the move we should be defaulting to is knight d7. That's what you want to do in this setup anyway. Okay. But he has no idea what he's doing. This I don't know. This one freaks me out because why are we putting our queen? They said not to bring out the queen early, right? So that one freaks me out a little bit. Castles, okay, I understand what you're doing. Good move. I'm very happy you didn't take that thing. Now we're going to say queen b5. You could have also said check to the miserable king. And now you took it. G2. So, one thing I want you to see about this decision to play bishop g2 that you thought 5 minutes on is that white's pieces are a mess. And so when you take on b2, first of all, maybe it's a fine move. But second, like your queen is doing a job here. Maybe it's a fine move, but his pieces are all messed up. So we would like to find a move that develops. This one's, of course, the first option to consider because it's opening up our rook. But you got other ones too. Any developing move, honestly, is going to be hard for him to meet. Okay, so pop, fixing his knight, honestly. Pop. And now he gets to castle. So notice he is, I think you're still better, but he has significantly improved his piece coordination. We say, okay. We say, okay. You're still doing fine. It's scary, though. Not sure I understand bishop f4. Okay. Good move. And then that's just terrible. He should not be exchanging queens. Now you're winning. Good move. Computer talks about knight de5. Your move is fine. Good move. Rook b1, no one knows what it's about. Good move. Good. 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 How could it be wrong? Good move. Cheap threats. You're doing great. Simple chess. Good move. Good move. I don't get it, but at this point, what is the guy going to do? What do I want you to do, by the way? I want you to bring your king in, okay? Okay. Good. Good. Oh, you're killing him. Great. Oh, I didn't like a3. Don't give him the spot, you know. Don't give him the spot. You are murdering him, though. Very good. So, Marcelo, you played a good game, buddy. You played a good game. And one of the things to see about it is this level of opponent you're playing is making a bunch of superficial moves with superficial traps and stuff, right? And you want to be focused on just on the discoordination of his pieces, not on the snipping of the pawns, okay? All right, well done. So we got Vindaloo, man. He's done a lot of work, second graduation. So Many things have happened, including a nice vacation in my wife's land. I thought for a second it said with a nice vacation from my wife. Okay, so there's a gap in the heat map. What doesn't kill me, make me stronger. And he's at least alive. Okay. Winning Pawn Structures by Bob Burin. That's good to know. And he decided to base my opening repertoire on IQP. Okay. So when he gets to be 2,000, he's going to worry about more theoretical lines. Great. This is Vindaloo Man. I remember him. He is up to 1,500, also in Italy. He's an avid road biker. I love riding the bike. I bet it'd be great to ride the bike in Italy, dude. I think it's amazing. So, I'm going to take a quick break, but I want to introduce you to a song that my friend David Pruess wrote.
Welcome to the Dojo.
Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Dicey. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine that he hacking. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong. He scored a like from Truong. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board. It's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless. He rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction. The status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practice his rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for elo farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis with lengthy game analysis. With sensei direction, he sold his collection. Read one classic and that was fantastic. Now he locked to the spot where they checking off boxes. Young prodigies and some wily old foxes. 3.5 points per box, that's shocking progress. Goal nearing, cohort cheering, Joe doesn't hear it. He's monotasking, no relaxing, concentration maxing. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. Now occasionally, he peeps the world of the tweet and laughs when he sees the player that he used to be. Blank face staring, complex plans comparing while he's dojo training. Hours a day playing out positions, transpositions, and growing his board vision. Transition from poser to player, focus without a care. He leaves them complaining in his dust, staying with their week-old ratings. Blast past his week-old rating, each week's a new occasion. He never takes vacation, the work is entertaining, the growth he's maintaining. And now Joe is explaining, hey, don't you know?
All right, my friends, I am back. Oh, delicious. Oh. So, this is Vindaloo Man. I bet he's in the... Oh, he's not in the Italy club. Okay. Games. Vindaloo Man, by the way, doing some great work. You can see mostly tactics here, but definitely graduating. All right. Booms. And now, very recent game with CS. And here we have a situation where his opponent did not think at all. Well, I should say this is an OTB game, and it's conceivable that he wasn't taking his opponent's time down. We'll find out. His own time seems totally reasonable, though. All right, let's go to game review. Here we go. Okay. So I believe this is the IQP repertoire. Okay. And he talks about bishop e7. Though knight f6 is definitely can't be too poor. Yeah, I think cd4. So it's funny. I think one thing that bishop e7 might tell us is that you are absolutely determined to play against the IQP, or rather to have the IQP. Whereas here, white is really inviting you to have the IQP yourself. Excuse me, to be playing against the IQP. A little long of a day. That isn't good. Now your bishop is amazing. That isn't good. And now you took on d4. I would be interested in castles here. That's poor. You should definitely play knight takes. Okay, now your position is amazing. You have two bishops and the hanging pawns. One thing we should say is, if you're going to be an IQP player, that you definitely want to see the hanging pawns as a cousin to the IQP. There's a lot of similarities there. All right, so bishop b7. The question will be on bishop b7, could white have played b4 himself or herself? Okay, to me it's a tactical question. If you could play bishop b7 and he doesn't get to body slam you on this square, then I think it's a good idea. So, if c5, I think we should consider it. And knight b5, we don't, well, there's a lot of tactical questions here too. But the simple move is just a6 and say, get out of here, buddy. I'm done with you. Get out, get out. So c5 looks correct. All right, could he play b4? That's a question to analyze. Could he play b4 now? He's not interested. You must play c5 now. It is muy importante for us to play c5. Okay, so very important to understand about the isolated queen pawn and the hanging pawns. It is all about the blockade. If white had played knight a4, I think you have some real questions to answer. Now, does queen a5 save you? Maybe. No, I don't think so. No, it doesn't. What am I saying? He's playing knight c5 no matter what. Once he plays knight c5, it's crispy critters for us positionally. This bishop is dead. Okay, you need to play c5 here. Very important. He's being passive. Good. Now king f8. We definitely want g6. Yeah. g6. Good. Poor move. Knight h4. Where's the knight going? Nowhere. d4. In principle, the absolutely right idea. We're going to get a passer, and we're going to get these guys going. Now, rook d4. I see. So it was a little bit of a visualization problem. The rook going to d4 is absolutely massive. By the way, I think him taking is also a mistake, and he should consider at least knight e4 here. All right, so cd4. Honestly, your position still looks amazing. Knight f3. The knight had to fix itself. Snippos. He was worried about stuff. Okay. I feel like white is playing for tricks here. That's what it looks like. King g8. Could have probably played h6. Good. Playing for tricks. f5. Now, Injun wants bishop d5 from him. And what we want to say is that in general, we don't want to play bishop f5 unless we really don't have to. Because now the knights are really kind of talking to us a little bit. Yeah, definitely knight d2. Good move. Check to the miserable king. Bishop d5, and he's toast. Beautiful. So one thing, a couple things we want to say. I like your thing about the isolated queen pawn. You're going to want to be comfortable with both playing against it and playing with it. And I think a cool thing you could do even is you could look at the Tarrasch games that Kasparov played back in the day. Very instructive for how to play those kinds of positions. And also just as a story that I think is good to think about is that his coaches, back in the day, Kasparov's coaches, were like, dude, you're playing Karpov and we want you to play the Tarrasch. I don't care if you think it's unsound. You know, this is pre-computer times. I don't care. I don't care about all the little crying sounds you're making when we tell you to play the Tarrasch. You're going to play it for us, buddy. And the intention was to get these kind of very tactical and open positions that we saw a little bit of in your game. And you need to understand that your opponents, as you get stronger, are going to find moves like knight a4, you know? And then it's like, oh no, we're strategically busted after knight a4, knight c5. Okay. So, oh my God. Amable's asking too. No, I can't do it today, unfortunately. I'm not even going to, I don't know if I'm going to finish even this. I don't even know if I'm going to finish this because, we have a meeting, a dojo meeting at 1. Mark says, this graduation is overdue, but I've been honestly slacking on putting in the work. I have a long backlogs of games played that I need to analyze, but the games I've played have raised my rating enough that the time has come to push this shiny button. I like that. My schedule is far less busy than it has been in recent months, so lots of time to get back. 11 years. Thank you for subscribing. Lots of time to get into analyzing games, reading books. Excited to do the at-home work on top of playing the games. All right, let's go take a look at Mark. As we've seen, we go up. We're going to start getting OTB. He played when he was young, reached 1,300. Now he's back into it. This is beautiful. I like this a lot. And he has been with us since 24, it says. And you can see he's kind of blotchy and spotty with his working, or maybe with his recording. In any case, this is very impressive. 1894, starting way back down here, 1557. And we're talking about goals. I think in the United States, we say 2000 is expert level. And that is like a very achievable life goal. But let me just stress, I've coached a lot of players around this rating to get to 2000. Some have succeeded, some haven't. And I just want to say for all of them, it was a hard road. So even though it looks like, oh, it's only 100 points. No, that is a very difficult and humbling quest to go from 1900 to 2000. Okay, clubs. I'm a friend to the Denver Dojo games. I haven't been back there in a while, but I played since I was a kid. Actually, I played tournaments way out there. Here he's going to be playing somebody much higher rated. We got clock times, beautiful. So you can see this is very GM level time management from both players. So we're going to go game review. So the TD, however, arranged for Rhett to play 2 of the lower rated players in a simul. Okay? It looks like it was a clock simul. All right, here we go. Fine. Fine. You're doing okay. And now that's a mistake. So read what you say. But now this structure somewhat reminds me of a King's Indian, except black stark square bishop is misplaced. Yeah, and in terms of structure, what you should see is that this is going to be a French structure with colors reversed. That's what you've set yourself up for with e3. So the standard move here for you would be something you'd kind of need to know about to play it, I think, and that's to play b4. And the point is simply when he does this to you, that you are set for queenside expansion. Your pawns are pointing this way, his are coming this way. Before you get mated, we want to punch him in the nose on the queen side. This, however, isn't just a loss of time, it's freeing this knight. So he carves the square for his knight. He takes it. And now plays queen c7. I don't know about queen c7. I'm not sure about that move. Fine. g6. Okay, g6 is interesting. h3. In general, I think you want to be doing things like knight d2. I don't want to take this bishop on I don't want to do that. That's your good bishop. h3, and now he smacks you with this, and apparently, I'm going to guess he was setting you up for that with this move g6. That's a dirty trick. That's a dirty trick. So, did he trick himself? I don't know. He does find this move now. Very impressive play. Rhett's playing a good game. You're seeing what it's like to play a higher rated player, but you're still not toast. Now you play bishop d3. Okay. And now cd5. So bishop h6 is a mistake. But the interesting thing is, for all of Brett's fanciness here, has he actually let himself down? He's been a very fancy boy. But has he tricked himself now? I just want to go back a second. So it looked great what he did. I thought it was very impressive. Right, and so bishop f5 is a mistake. It looks very natural. But what does he need to do? He needs to play knight f6. Yeah. And then claim that he's at least okay in this position. And one of the main reasons he can claim that, I think, is that this knight isn't great. Yeah, but it's still very hot. Still very hot. Okay, so mistake. And then you trusted him on bishop h6. And now you're a little bit in trouble, but he goes full Monty here. Knight f2. What is he doing? What is he doing? What are you doing, buddy? Okay. Good. Good. All right. Boom. All right. Well done. Now you might be on top of the world. This is superficial. So notice that he's trying to knock you out, and he does have a lot of interesting ideas, but a move like rook e3 is just clearly missing the point, because yes, you want to play queen d5. Now, one thing I can tell you in this position is that your strategic goal should be to trade the rooks, okay? Just to leave, like, this guy's a blind man on the light squares, but he's got help with this thing. So a really standard plan here would be b3, just so there's no drama, king h1, and then get ready to do that. There's not much he can do about it, honestly, either. This seems superficial, what you're doing. That doesn't look right for him. He's opening himself up. All right, can we get rook d1, d7? Okay, good. Good. Check to the miserable king. Good. Oh, well done. So, Mark, I realize it was a simul and stuff, but, you withstood this storm of this guy doing his thing here. And he played some, let's call it GM style stuff on you that really started from this positional mistake here, d5. Now, one of the things that's interesting actually about a mistake like this is the computer, a lot of times it likes space so much that it doesn't even think that you've committed the worst sin. But anyways, it's definitely a mistake because you're giving the knight some squares. All right. Yellow says, I've never really tried doping for chess before, but currently considering caffeine. I love caffeine. This is a little bit of, let's call it iced coffee. All right, so I need to write my people and say, so, streaming, but ready for meeting whenever you guys are. So, who knows? I think some people are even going to be out to lunch for our little meeting. All right, Mark. Fantastic. You faced down Rhett, the evil Rhett from Denver. Next up, we got Paul. Paul doesn't tell us anything. USCF 1928. Dude could graduate again if he wanted to. Joined last year, but only started logging stuff recently. Okay, so we might not have anything from Paul. Let's just see here. No. So Paul, welcome back to the dojo, and I'm hoping to see some games of yours, and like you could graduate again at 1930. Very happy to have some stronger players in here at the dojo. Next up is Marcel. Okra, aka Mark, thank you for being here. This is Marcel, and he also might not have much going on. He is an 1819. And one thing I'll just say, Marcel, right away is, at this level of chess.com, you're going to be playing so many cheaters that it's going to be very discouraging. So I encourage you strongly to, maybe you're playing, let's say dojo tournaments or something where you're not going to be facing the cheaters, but just it will be very discouraging for you, the level of cheating that you'll face once you pass 2,000. Okay, so let's take a look. Clubs, nothing. Games, maybe nothing also from Marcel. Marcelo, welcome to the dojo. We hope to see more from you in the future. Now we got Marketeer. As an adult improver, it was good enough to get back to the board with the program as a guide with a wealth of information around. It was hard for me to navigate through the riches until I joined the program. Oh, thank you very much, Marketeer. Let's just note that we think of all graduations as being equal, but Marketeer has now crossed into 2,000. So in the United States, we call that expert territory. It's a very difficult goal to achieve. He did 124 points of work, so a very difficult and earned graduation. Thank you, Eric. Let's go check out Marketeer here. All right, first goal is to be candidate master. Now, I just want to admit something. Back in the day, we didn't have candidate master, so I don't even know what it is. I don't know what the requirements are. I know it's a FIDE thing, and they adopted it from the Russians. The Soviets had a thing called candidate master. What do you need to be a FIDE candidate master? FIDE of 2,200, and you don't need any norms. Okay, so that's like basically a master, the same thing as a USCF master. So I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I asked. Like I said, that's kind of a thing we didn't have when I was a kid. So 2,000, that's a big goal. That's a hard 200 points there. And you can see Marketeer, he's joined the dojo and he is crushing it over here. All right, had a nice jump from 1985 to 2029. We're going to look at the clubs over here. All right, the dads and moms. We got some games. Nothing. Oh. Something I have had a sense of is that stronger players often don't go over their games. It's too hard. It's too painful. Me and Pruess kind of disagree on the motivations for that and why that's actually the case. But I've done the graduation show long enough to know that the higher rated players often don't have it. And also personal experience, I had a hard time finally doing it. And it was doing it that turned me into a GM. No Bro is over here. I'm going to finish this and then we're going to get off this business here. We're going to get off this show. 2213, great that you are here, No Bro. He is in the German dojo. And does he have some games? We do. And I'll tell you what, No Bro, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do your business again a different time. I'm sure you're not here. I don't know if you're absolutely sure. But I have a feeling you're not here, and I have to go to this meeting. Leela Karidze just rated. Thank you very much. We rate her sometimes, so that's cool. And I just want to say, if you're just joining us, this is the ChessDojo Training Program. It's an amazing thing. We got so many cool things going on, and you can see here's No Bro's training plan here. Oh man, this is a good-looking site. So I'm going to do No Bro the next time I stream. We have loads of other people to do. Wednesday is our traditional time. It got knocked back this week because of the Arena Kings first Wednesday of the month. But next Wednesday, we're going to return to No Bro. No, normal end to No Bro. All right, everybody. I'm out of here. We got raided from Leela, and we're going to raid somebody else. Let's raid... I can't raid Leela because she just raided us. We're going to raid Chess Gamerin. Vielleicht eine Deutsch streamer here. All right, my friends, we are out. Thank you, Leela, for raiding. We're going to raid this person. I have no idea who they are, but we're just going to give them a little raid. Bye, everybody.